Every man I know has at least one area in his life that he wants to be successful in right now. I mean, it could be his career, his marriage, his discipline, his faith. But what if the glass ceiling between where we are and where we want to be isn't bad luck, it isn't a lack of talent, it ain't somebody holding us back? There's a part of your brain that only grows stronger when you hit pressure. Now, while most men turn away from difficult times and resistance, there are a few men who do something different. They don't go around the wall. They don't wait for it to move. They run straight through it. What's up, fam? My name is Larry L.C. Crawford from Limitless, and today we're starting a conversation about why God designed you that way and how choosing discomfort is the key to a powerful, purposeful, and limitless life. Let's get it. Okay, so let's talk about how you're built. Because God is the ultimate engineer. He's the ultimate designer. So inside your brain, there's this region called the mid-cingulate cortex. Don't worry about the name. This is the part of your brain that activates when you face difficulty, when you push through stress, or when you do things that you don't feel like doing. Think about it as your perseverance center. And here's the part that most people have never heard. This part of your brain actually grows when you engage discomfort, and it shrinks when you avoid it. Now think about that for a second. That means that God didn't wire you to avoid resistance. He wired you to be built stronger by resistance. It's not there to break you. It's there to build you. And if you really dig into the neuroscience, this is where it gets wild. Studies show that people with the largest and strongest mid-cingulate cortexes are guys like professional athletes, Navy SEALs, some of those elite fighters like boxers and MMA guys who really work hard on their craft, endurance competitors, and high-performance executive leaders. All of these men have larger, more active mid-cingulate cortex areas. In other words, these are the men who consistently do what other men won't. And here's what matters most. None of these men were born different. I mean, they didn't hit the genetic lottery or anything like that. They didn't have a shortcut or a cheat code. They accomplished different things because they repeatedly choose to do the uncomfortable things right in front of them. And this is what I want you to understand about that. Discomfort doesn't test us as men. It trains us as men. See, here's why this matters beyond science. God didn't just give you life. He gave you responsibility for that life. Scripture calls that stewardship, which means you and I are both accountable for how we develop the life that God entrusted to us. So your strength, your discipline, your leadership, and your influence, all of these are things that we are called as men to steward. But here's the uncomfortable truth that most men avoid. If God wired you to go through resistance, and you consistently choose ease instead, that's not just a missed opportunity. That's mismanagement of everything that God gave you. See, God doesn't judge men for where they start, but he does judge us for the faithfulness that we apply to what we were given. And most of what he's given us is designed to grow in soil disguised as pressure. Scripture makes this extremely clear. You know, it's been saying this long before science ever caught up. The book of James says to count it all joy when we face trials, because trials produce endurance. Romans even tells us that suffering produces perseverance. See, God uses resistance the same way the gym uses weight, tension, load, recovery. We go through all of these things and then we repeat it over and over again because that's how strength is built. And it's the same way spiritually. It's the same way mentally. It's the same way physically. And so when we embrace this, we begin to shift our lives permanently. Now, here's where most men get it wrong. Most of the opportunities that you've been praying for, when God gives them to you, they don't show up looking like blessings. They show up looking like pressure, like problems, like conflict, like responsibility, like hard work. But these things aren't obstacles. Hear me clearly. They're not obstacles. They're invitations. These situations are the resistance that God uses to grow your strength into the man that he's calling you to be and needs you to be for the next seasons in your life. So this whole conversation that we're beginning today is not a one-off talk. We want you to stay tuned to the pod because, listen, this series didn't start on YouTube. It didn't start in a podcast conversation. It started in a room full of men at one of our cave nights, and we were talking about strength and leadership and limits, and I could see it on the faces of the men of the room. This wasn't basic information. It was a confrontation between who we are and who we really believe we should be. And this was one of those talks that I believe needed a little more time. And so that's what we're going to do over the next few pods, because it needed structure. It needed to be walked out. It needed more than lip service. It needed life service. And that's why we're here. So over the next few videos, we're going to walk through the 5 discomforts that every man must choose to live a powerful life. We're going to talk about the discomfort of an intentional start, the discomfort of an expanded mind, the discomfort of a disciplined body. Don't you skip that episode. The discomfort of undesirable work, the discomfort of spiritual dependence, and I'm even going to have a bonus discomfort that you can't afford to miss at the end. But no matter what discomfort hits you the hardest, here's the deal. Taking them seriously isn't going to be an easy choice, but it is going to be a life-changing choice. So before you go any further, I want you to do 4 things. First things first, I need you to pick a few targets and hold them close as you work through the discomforts. You'll find them by answering this question: what areas in my life should go higher and could go higher? Second thing I want you to do is take some inventory. That's when we do a gut check, and just ask yourself, where have I been avoiding growth? Third, I want you to choose one of the discomforts that we talk about. Not all 5, just one. And pick a brother to talk about it with, because none of these transformations and none of these discomforts can survive in isolation. You're going to need somebody to encourage you as you take on what you used to avoid before. And if we approach this series like the men that we're capable of being, we're going to see God do some things in us that we did not think was possible, all because we choose discomfort over the easy way. Listen to me. Powerful men don't refuse resistance in their life. They use resistance in their life. Next video, the discomfort of an intentional start. Stay limitless. God bless. I'll see you in a minute. Peace.